Next on the news, unholy acts upset parishioners at a church in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
Statues spray painted at this Queens church that was hit twice in 1 week by vandals. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
The annual blessing of the animals took place on the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan joined the Peruvian community at St. Sebastian's for a celebration of the Lord of Miracles. Plus, a new look for the old guard. The Swiss guards who have protected the Pope for centuries have new uniforms. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Queens Parish was desecrated twice in less than a week. Multiple statues at St. Mary Star of the Sea were tampered with on Thursday morning. The Far Rockaway Church immediately set about fixing them when the pastor discovered more unholy acts over the weekend. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the details.
Somebody that said, people have to see what's going on.
These statues at St. Mary Star of the Sea Church were still covered in graffiti Monday morning after being vandalized this weekend.
And they have to know that we're kind of under attack.
The pastor, Father Frank Shannon, wanted the community to see it, especially because it was the second time in a week. On Thursday morning, 3 statues were desecrated.
They had wrapped the Blessed Mother in some black garbage bags. It looked even worse. But unfortunately, late Saturday into Sunday, about 2 in the morning, we were hit again. And this one was a bit more heartbreaking because it's a little more, the graffiti and the paint on the faces and the walls is not only is it a little more permanent, but it's also very sad.
Parishioners were devastated when they saw the damage, including the words cult spray painted.
Very discouraging. So I felt so dejected, that someone would come and just face a place like this, place of worship.
I find it was horrible, and I find it was very sad of them doing that to the church.
Even people in the community, like Franklin Rodriguez, are upset by the crime.
It is offensive because, this is freedom of religion. This is that country.
Father Shannon says they believe it was 2 different suspects, and the NYPD hate crime unit is investigating. Unfortunately, the parish's surveillance system wasn't working.
They died about 2 months ago, and we only about 2 weeks ago got new proposals.
Church staff will work to remove the graffiti, and now the faithful here will work to move on and pray for whoever did this.
We can't hold anger in our hearts. You have to forgive.
Father Shannon says 2 Protestant churches in the area were also vandalized. The NYPD continues to investigate. In Far Rockaway, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
Anyone with information about this incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. That's 1-800-577-8477. Churches across the Diocese of Brooklyn celebrated the Feast of St. Francis with the annual blessing of the animals.
We therefore invoke the divine blessing on these animals through the intercession of St. Francis of Assisi. As we do, let us praise the Creator and thank Him for setting us over other creatures of the earth. Let us also
they sound very excited. Father Patrick West gave the blessing at St. Sebastian's in Woodside, but parishioners all over Brooklyn and Queens brought their dogs, cats, and other pets to their parishes so they could be blessed in honor of the patron saint of animals. The feast day recognizes how much animals mean in our lives and how much they reflect God's unconditional love for us. So cute. At Archbishop Molloy High School in Briarwood, there's a very special addition to this year's freshman class. Meet Giovanni. The 12-week-old Labrador Golden Retriever mix is definitely scoring high marks for cuteness from the students. Giovanni is a service dog in training through Canine Companions for Independence. Austin Power not only teaches math, he's also teaching Giovanni how to serve members of the community with disabilities.
He needs to learn basic obedience and then needs to be socialized in public settings. So here he gets to learn how to walk walk on a leash with his puppy raiser or trainer at the time in a crowded hallway where he's paying attention and following his commands.
Giovanni will remain with Mr. Power for at least a year and a half before moving on for advanced training. If all goes as planned, Giovanni will find a forever home with a person in need of a service dog. Heading back to Woodside, it was a busy weekend at St. Sebastian's Church, which also celebrated the Lord of Miracles. Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan joined the Parishes Peruvian community as they carried the image of El Señor de los Milagros on their shoulders on Sunday and shut down the Queen's streets. The Peruvian devotion began in Lima in 1651 when the image of the crucified Christ, painted by an enslaved man, was the only thing to survive an earthquake. Now, every year, hundreds at St. Sebastian's carry on the procession that draws hundreds of thousands to Lima. The Diocese of Brooklyn is helping you get closer to Jesus and Mary.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Bishop Brennan praying the rosary at the Shrine Church of St. Gerard Majella this weekend as part of a celebration to start a diocese-wide Eucharistic Rosary Congress. The Hollis Church, along with 5 other Jubilee Shrine churches across Brooklyn and Queens, will be taking part in the prayers and adoration all week, helping people get closer to Christ and the Blessed Mother. Peace talks are underway on the eve of the deadly Hamas attack in Israel 2 years ago. Egypt is hosting the talks. Negotiators from both sides are discussing President Trump's 20-point roadmap for peace. It calls for an immediate end to the war and then gives Hamas 72 hours to release all Israeli hostages. After that, it has Israel freeing 250 prisoners and 1,700 detainees. The plan also involves Israel's eventual withdrawal from Gaza. For the first time, Israeli leaders are publicly agreeing to that idea. Pope Leo XIV has signed the first apostolic exhortation of his pontificate. The Vatican says the Holy Father signed the document in the library of the Apostolic Palace on Saturday, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. Its title is Dilexi Te, which translates to I have loved you. While the Holy See did not reveal the contents of the text, it reportedly focuses on the poor. It will be released on Thursday. Also over the weekend, Pope Leo presided over the oath of the Swiss Guard. The 27 new soldiers swearing to protect the Holy Father joined the 135 members of the Pope's personal guard. Pope Leo is the first pontiff in 57 years to preside over the ceremony. He thanked the soldiers for their service. You may notice the old guard has a new look, but actually the new uniform some of the soldiers will wear is a throwback to one they wore from the late 1800s until the 1970s. Jenna McDermott shows us.
They're known as the Pope's personal bodyguard and the oldest active army in the world. If you travel to Rome, you'll recognize them at the entrances of the Vatican by the colors of their uniforms, red, yellow, and blue. They're the Swiss Guards, the military corps made of 135 soldiers who swear to protect the pontiff with their lives. 2 days before this oath by the new recruits, they presented their new uniform. It's what you see here, a black design made from Swiss wool with golden buttons engraved with the keys, the symbol of the Holy See. The new uniform is a journey into the past. It recalls a uniform that was worn until the time of Pope Paul VI and is considered semi-formal. That means it will be used on special and official occasions, for example, outside the Vatican, such as visits to embassies. But only a privileged few will be allowed to wear it, mostly due to the cost, which is about €2,000 per outfit. The Holy See didn't pay for it, a benefactor did. That's why only a few have been made and only officers will wear them. So don't worry, the traditional Medici-style uniforms you see here isn't going away. You'll see them on soldiers in the square. Like 23-year-old Francesco, one of the 27 new recruits who are swearing loyalty to Pope Leo XIV in 2025. Francesco worked as a mechanic in Switzerland, but something told him since the age of 10 that he needed to be a soldier, perhaps because of Pope Francis.
When I saw the election of Pope Francis on television, it was a very emotional moment. But what really caught my attention was that he had chosen the name Francesco. My name is Francesco, and it was very moving. From then on, I also saw the Swiss Guards standing in formation in St. Peter's Square. And that's when the dream of joining this army was born in me.
Jenna McDermott, Currents News.
This year, the Guards were sworn in October rather than May, when the ceremony is usually held because of the death of Pope Francis. So these recruits actually began their service under Pope Francis, and now they protect Pope Leo. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Before we go, let's take one last look at the pets who got blessed over the weekend. Hope to see you again next time.